It's here if you can get the imagination to be willing to go back and do it. It's other buildings that have this type of ceiling and stuff. Now these are original windows. Most of those glasses are original, 1890, 91 windows in them. And they were all covered, see, and all this ceiling had a drop ceiling down. It was an 8-foot ceiling, and they had boards across those windows, and they had paneling all the way across the window. You can see anything. And they're taking all these window sills out and all this so it'd be flush. And this was all paneled and closed off, but they did manage to leave them in. So we just rebuilt the windows and rebuilt the wainscoting across the bottom. It'll have it's got a baseboard goes across here later. We originally, actually these floors, I've had a lot of floors done, and a friend of mine does them. He does an excellent job. But these had a foam glued to them, but it came off real easy. The foam didn't leave any glue on it. Sometimes it's real hard to get that foam up, to get the glue off. It sticks up your sandpaper. This is some of the easiest to clean we had. In old houses, you have to get used to things not being level. It's just the name of the game. And that's part of the charm. That's part of the historic characteristic. It's like an antique furniture. You have a little nicks and things on it. It's not antique. But this floor, you know, would be impossible a modern New Day floor doesn't look this pretty. You don't have the color combinations that you have in this. It's a trend through the country. It's catching on in Roanoke. I live in an apartment right across over here on a quarter square in the second floor Knights of the Pigeon. It's 4,000 square foot. My apartment, I have $155,000 in it. That apartment today in Roanoke, 3,000 square foot, is over $1 million. So it's a tremendous opportunity for somebody to come in, you know, and get started and fix them a nice apartment. There also is a big trend throughout the country to people who retire, living in a small town rather than a retirement village. That's a big and upcoming thing. You can go outdoors and you see somebody else besides people your age walking around. You're close to the movie theater, you're close to the grocery store, you're close to the restaurants and shops. And it's kind of what becomes first, the horse or the couch. But you know, the chicken or the egg, you got to have both of those things. But as they grow, I think that's one of the big futures in Martinsville, along with the college, the sports and recreation, and this uptown living. Retired people. That is going to be a big thing in the future, I think. One building down here was an old A&P building. You own on the courthouse square. Right now it's got the perma-stones, the synthetic looking concrete stone. And I rented that office space. The other day I was down there looking up in the ceiling. And man, it's got one of the most beautiful tin ceilings. Even pretty as this. More decoration, just fantastic. Just unbelievable. And when it goes down like it comes all the way down and wraps around. And got all this fancy work and got little early hooks up there. We're back in the 30s. It would be fantastic to restore. And it had 4 skylights in it. And the skylights went up through the roof, and they had a little roof like a steeple on it, 4-sided steeple. Then it had a window about this big on all 4 sides of the skylight. And that would just be fantastic restored. It's got a drop ceiling now, you can't see any of it. And it's not just a regular drop ceiling. They put steel beams across there and 2x6s and 2x8s. It's not attached to the original ceiling at all. So that could all come out and the original ceiling would be perfect. It would be fantastic. That's what I'm thinking about doing next. I draw my own plans up, so forth, and I knew it was 3 buildings here. If you go up on the roof, you actually have 3 different roofs and a brick wall in between. And so I could see this as 3 individual units, and I want them to have 3 individual units so I'd have that trim work. See, that's all original, going down the side on the roof, a ceiling up there. And that's where it used to be a wall. So that way you got trim work on both sides. It'd be very difficult to put that in, and that's all original. And I used the spiral ducts and painted them to match the ceiling, and that kind of blends in with the ceiling, and that's your heating and air conditioning system. Ceiling fans, you got high efficiency heat pumps, 1500 SCR or better. You got R26 insulation in the roof, that's right under the roof, and you got another 10 inches of rock wool, which is old insulation on top of this, so you got probably R40. I think this is going to be very, very efficient. Now the windows will be sealed. You won't open the windows, they'll be sealed. And a sealed window is very little different between a perfectly tight window and a thermopane window. And I'd like to preserve the old windows if possible. A thermal pane window is R1.8, and the regular sealed single pane window is a R.8. So when you talk efficiency-wise, when you're looking at 20R in a wall or 30 in a wall, there's not much difference. I sealed the ones over the courthouse, just sealed them, And we were expecting our heat bill of our utility bills to run around $1,000 a month, and it's average about $350. So that's a big difference. But you got a beautiful, and all the activity goes on, and it's just a lot of activity uptown, and more and more things taking place all the time, and that's what we like to see. We had Uptown Halloween, and you couldn't believe the number of people came up here to the trick or treat. I had one individual that over here got to about 100 and some, had 100 plus little bags fixed up for the children. Heck, it didn't last an hour. They had to go get some more candy, but it was a tremendous turnout. We had a fantastic Oktoberfest up here. You know, it was just fabulous, best we've ever had. So things are really changing, I think. The new colleges expansion is going to help. I think we're going to have more and more of a presence of Patrick Henry Community College, a physical presence uptown. The new administrator there is much more interested in historic preservation in buildings and uptown, so I think the future looks pretty good for us. Once you get started, we live here in the country I've lived in Martinsville for 40 or some years. I ran the operating rooms, anesthesia for 30 years, retired in '93. But about 6 years ago, we decided to come to Martinsville and just for the heck of it, see what we could do. So we built our loft apartment. We had some buildings, and we bought several buildings, and they asked me, well, can you do a building for the college? So we did the first building for the college, which is right on the corner there. And it just expanded one after another, and now I think we have 17 buildings. It kind of grew more than I anticipated, but it's been a continuous thing of building for that period of time, and I'm very well pleased. Sure, I'm not Rockefeller, but I'm enjoying it. And at 78, I think I'm pretty active.